All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I do have a name for the show now. It's called Real Revenue. So, testing this out. Prior shows, I've indicated that I haven't gotten a name yet, but I've decided that it's Real Revenue. And so, we are blessed today. We've got a guest, Richmond Taylor, joining us, the founder and CEO of Bishop AI, and also has a new product and a new startup called PromptAnything. We'll get into both of those. But, Richmond, thank you very much for joining today. Really appreciate it. And why don't we start off thinking about Bishop AI and what that company is, what it does, and we can go from there.
Yeah, definitely. So, and thanks for having me on today, Brian. It's very exciting to talk about and just dive into AI, especially when it comes to revenue. I was a go-to-market guy before I started Bishop AI. So that's sales, marketing, customer success. And Bishop AI was birthed through that. So like, how can we utilize AI in this entire revenue generation and go-to-market success realm and industry? And that's exactly what I did. I brought AI into automation and education, where Bishop AI, we go in to educate companies first, and then from there we can understand their tech stack, what makes them different, their operations, and understand what are the biggest headaches that they have and what can AI solve for them. And from the education we get, it's like a large discovery call essentially that they benefit from, and then we can bring in all the automations possible to make them really AI forward and AI first. It's very exciting whenever it happens. And Bishop AI also, the story behind it, it comes from my middle name. My middle name is from my grandfather. My grandfather was a very strategic and well-known man in the Air Force, and being able to understand like not only the Bishop chess piece, but what my middle name and what his name comes from just shows the tenacity and the leadership qualities and skills that it's going to take for us to really bring AI into more of a responsible metric and not just kind of chasing the next biggest thing. We got to structure, we got to make some strategy behind this, and that's what we do.
Love it. All right. So take me through the transition into starting Bishop AI. I'm always really interested in people who step out on their own, have an idea, especially coming from go-to-market. So much of us in this space, and I'm on the customer success side, as you know. So many of us see the patterns and see the actions that are required from a leading activity perspective that are going to impact the lagging results of top of line funnel all the way through to closing a deal, holding on to customers longer, expansion sales, etc. So is that what you were picking up on as kind of the patterns of things that worked well? And I'm always just really curious of people who step out on their own. So take me through that moment where you're like, I think I can do this and build a company around this.
Yeah, so long story short, I played professional soccer until I was 26. And I came into this world of corporate thinking, what am I going to do next? How am I going to be able to make a difference in this world? And to me, that's starting your own business. And to start your own business, you got to learn 3 different skills: sales, marketing, customer success. That's the wheel of go-to-market. And my always idea was, you can equate this to dating almost. Sales is how you speak, marketing is how you look, and customer success is how you get that second date. And that goes hand in hand with almost everything that we're doing, not only professionally, but with relationships, with friends, with family, all the above. So I learned the sales, mastered that, learned marketing, got very involved into marketing, and then I got into the customer success. Not as much, so I definitely have some influencers in there that helped push me along there. From there, I just got into the go-to-market world, worked with Salesforce for a little bit in that ecosystem, and to the point where I feel like I was ready to go. I moved down to Miami for a role, a director of sales role. Path to CRO, it was 10 years I was going to skip into my career, so I couldn't say no. But when I came down here, the reason I wanted to make the jump is because AI was pushing so hard and so fast. And the place where I was at, there was a little stagnation with what they were giving me. They oversold me, and it was going to be more, should I continue down this road for another 10 years of something that's a little bit more stagnant, or should I jump on this train that's going so fast that everyone's going to have to either get on or catch up on? And so I wanted to be on the very front of the train and, reap the rewards and benefits from that. So that's why I took the leap.
Yeah. And so how before we jump further into the product, how do you tie in your professional soccer experience, the lessons from your grandfather? It sounds like you're willing to take some risks, willing to work hard, and want to be a leader in the space, if I'm hearing all those things right. Do I have that right as the way that you kind of think of yourself as an entrepreneur?
Definitely. And I've had my own emotional backdrafts before. Like, I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive at one point, and I had to go fight through that and get through that. And my grandfather was a big proponent of me getting through that as well, and so was soccer. I mean, soccer was more of like, how do we become disciplined? How do we become a team? How can we get to that next goal, that trophy, that milestone that we want to reach, that we work so hard for? And we bleed on the field together, and we work on this together, and the leader, the captain, is on the front lines right with them. That's what I learned through soccer.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes from my grandfather, he was a general in the Air Force, brigadier general. I have his star over here to my right that I carry with me. He taught me family. He taught me hard work. He taught me discipline as well, but more in the lines of a grandfather trying to lead the son, the grandson, to greater heights, and also being traditional and, respecting others. That meant a lot to me when it came to just being able to grab this name and put it to something that I'd be very proud of, and wake up every single morning and represent his name as much as I could.
Nice. All right. Well, let's transition there. Thinking about first principles and important inputs to seeing the success. So it sounds like you've got the foundations in your background to be thinking about, how can I take these forward to have success? Now let's talk about PromptAnything, because before we hopped on the air here, we were talking about prompts being the foundation of anything you want to do with AI. And I've experimented a ton. I've used a lot of different tools. When we were talking the other day, I had an example of an app that I had built on Replit, I think, or Lovable was the one that we looked at. And I think I had a pretty good prompt, and it took me through, some iterations to get there. But when you and I were talking, clearly there was some questions that could take some more filling out as I was going through there, and starting from a really good baseline. So take me through PromptAnything. How did that come about, coming out of Bishop AI, and describe a little bit about what this product is and what this startup is.
Yeah, so when we started Bishop AI, we had to make automations, web applications, and agents for all of our clients. And we were prompting it ourselves. We learned how to prompt. We saw articles how to prompt. It was really me running this entire organization, just making sure that we get this thing right. How do we have a one-stop shop to make any of these prompts, to make whatever we need to make? So after studying and reading and collecting all that data, because I kept it in my folders, I put it into ChatGPT to make like a general prompter. I called it general prompt, and I put like a general star, like a picture of a general on there. And what I would do is I would just go to have an idea or have a brain dump, and I'd put that into the general prompter in ChatGPT. And then from there, the general prompt, whatever that's a workflow, web app, automation, whatever wireframe of some tool, we grab that prompt and we put it into Claude, which would then make our JSON for or make it even better for a web application or even an agent. And just kind of test the two, because I did realize certain LLMs are better at certain things, as we all know nowadays. That's where it kind of started, and I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this, because there's so many better LLMs. We're jumping from here to there. We have so many different subscriptions. How can we make a tool that can not only grab all the necessary information, ask the relevant questions, because I was always saying, please ask me extra questions, so I would type it out. It would take me so long. And how do we structure these where it's going to be able to generate the prompt the right kind of way, in a way that the AI understands this prompt is meant for this specific reason, whether that's an agent for copywriting, an agent for managing your emails, a workflow that helps reach out to inbound customer success, and schedules them and routes them to the right agent, or it can even build a wireframe for a SaaS application, a landing page for a certain webinar. How do we make the agent know that? And we figure that out. We figured that out by doing two things. One, respecting the structure of a good prompt. A prompt is made in 4 different categories. That is the system, which is the identity and principles of the prompt. That is the user, which is the mission brief behind the prompt. The developer, which is like the behavior spec, how it's going to act, what's its tone, what's its voice, what's its brand. And then the assistant prompt, which gives it relevant examples on how to actually function. And from there, we grab that and generates all the questions, and our prompting algorithm makes it 3 to 12 characters in a framework. And this framework could literally spell out framework. It could spell clear. It could spell anything it wants to. The thing is, it takes it to, let's say, 8 characters. That means it could be 2 characters for the system, 3 for the user, 1 for the developer, and 2 for the assistant. But it expands it out so it understands this framework is meant for this specific purpose. It's not just 4 characters, SUDA, system, user, developer, assistant. It's a different one that makes it more specific. And that's what makes it so powerful behind anything you're looking to build. Because AI understands, yes, it's a prompt, but AI understands, yes, it's prompt for this XYZ method.
Okay.
One more point I do want to make on that is when it comes to LLMs and how you actually interact with ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, it does have the system, user, developer, and assistant prompts in there, but it is so basic. Most basic, it says you're a user assistant to help out this person do something very simple, whatever it asks, and just do whatever it wants it to do. It's a very generic and general way to prompt things, and that's why making specific prompts with this tool is the more powerful way to do it.
So two questions. One is confirm one thing for me. So as somebody uses PromptAnything and creates a prompt, should that be copy pasted into Gemini, Claude Code? Like what are the tools that it should be pasted into for it to work best?
And where it is right now, yes, it's in the very first stages of it. It makes you the prompt or it makes you the output. If it makes you a prompt, you can grab that prompt if it's for an agent and go into your N8N, for example, in your agent, and it asks you what the prompt is, and you just copy and paste it, and it's going to do what you want it to do. If you have a project or a gem on Gemini, you grab that prompt, and those are your instructions. That's it.
Okay.
When it comes to your workflows, if you want an N8N workflow, you answer all the questions. Say, I want an N8N workflow that does whatever I want it to do. And then it's going to generate you the JSON. So you copy the JSON and you paste it into N8N, and then there's your workflow. That's your MVP. You're ready to go make this make sense and make something out of it.
Gotcha.
And then you can do a wireframe on the output where you copy and paste that, put that into Lovable, and then your app is 80 to 100% there.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. And then last question, I think it'd be cool to take a look at actually building a prompt, which is who is this for? So like I was saying earlier, I feel like I'm getting there with my prompting and the authoring of the way I write my prompts. There's people on various levels of experience in that. Is PromptAnything for a specific type of user in your mind? Are you targeting specific levels of expertise in LLM prompting?
The beautiful thing about PromptAnything is, that's the brand name, PromptAnything. If you're going to be prompting something and using AI for any reason, this tool's for you. AI is here to make everything much easier. If you want to go prompt in a gift finder for Christmas gifts for your mother, you're going to be able to make that happen and have her specific profile in there so it can actually give you some good ideas and scour the internet so you don't have to spend hours around the season to figure that out and find all the deals. If you're a cleaning lady and you want to be able to figure out the best route to do certain things, you can make an agent to do that. If you're a sales development representative, here's your code call mentor pitch practicer. If you're a manager, you have now anything you want to be able to put together, a workflow, a report, an automation. It's for everybody. It's for anybody. And that's the beautiful thing about PromptAnything, because it is that dynamic.
All right, cool. All right, so let's take a look if you can share your screen if you've got that access. We were talking about a good use case to take a look at, and I think building a chatbot might be a good one. Or if you have any other examples of what you'd like to show, we can take a peek at actually how the prompts get built.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a chatbot would be fun to do. From the chatbot, we would have to go figure out a way to embed it into a platform, but we can definitely build the use case behind it. Can you see my screen, my Google screen?
Yep.
So all you got to do is go to PromptAnything.io. You sign in. I'm already logged in, so we're good to go. If you want to now, you can now install it on your phone. That is new. So vote for us on Product Hunt. Just vote for us after you like what you see. So here it's a simple way to start. You have some ways that you can get inspired by building AI agents. You can do automations, web applications that kind of does whatever you want it to do. But really, the world's your oyster here. And then we want to be able to build a web app, right? Or a chatbot.
Yeah.
What kind of chatbot do you want to make?
Let's make one for just customer service for, let's do a landscaping company.
All right. I want to show you guys the power behind this and just make it so simple. Anybody can do this. I want to build a chatbot for customer service for a landscaping company. We continue. Now we have two ways we could take this on. In regards to the speed, what we want to do this, they're both pretty powerful. Guided prompt builds off of each question. So each question is built off the last one. Prompt flow, the AI looks into what you're looking to build and it asks you all the questions all at once. So it's a little bit faster, but for beginners and people that like it gamified and entertaining, do the guided prompt. But for this one, we're going to try out prompt flow. From here, if you have your profile context built in, which you can just import your LinkedIn profile, it's going to be able to understand your personal and business context. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because let's say it's going to be for Bishop AI, and I'm going to show you guys the power behind that. There's always advanced settings where it knows it's building an agent. Choose files, you can add any tags you want to, customer, you can just do chatbot, do whatever you want to for organization purposes. And yeah, and it's looking like it's going to be using Claude 3 Haiku. Because this is the free version I'm using. This is what you guys would be able to use yourself. So now I'm going to refine this prompt. And what this is going to do is going to ask up to a few questions to really understand the specifics behind what we're building. On the free version, you get 10 questions answered to go through. The higher versions, there's infinity, there's gold. You can get more, so you can get more intent behind what you're building. But this is a good way to start.
Okay.
From here, you see what's this intent clarification. What's the reason behind this chatbot? What are we doing? Snow removal, escalating complex lawn care. Really anything that it needs to kind of build for what we're looking for. So we just got to go through these questions and just make sure they're correct.
Okay. So that's the next step, right? As you go through, you can pop these open, do a cursory review, make sure that the context all makes sense, and make some edits if you need to.
Exactly, yeah. And this is just to go through briefly. So you don't have to type it all out yourself.
Yeah.
Your customers, what should they get out of the chatbot? What are some constraints to it? In the higher versions, you get compliance measures. Are they GDPR compliant? Are they focusing on X, Y, and Z? It's all generated inside of this, and making sure we get all the different kind of questions answered.
Okay. So this is adding context as you go, making sure you can refine. So that the prompt right out of the gates is not just, I want to make a chatbot for a landscaping company, but it has all of the context needed to really nail it right from the start.
Exactly. On the higher tiers, it can go up to 50 questions, depending on how intricate you want to make this. And plus, you can see it's using Claude 3 Haiku.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally fine because we have other options as well. These are for the gold tier, and you can see the higher ones are for the higher tiers because, we have to be able to show value, and it does cost more money to be able to use these higher tiered LLMs, but you can see we're using every single LLM that's available on the market. And our AI chooses the best LLM for you that is for the specific,
Got
prompt.
it.
So for this example, it's a chatbot. It's more of a web application. It's going to use Claude because that's the best one for that. And we get that data from this website called arena.ai, which shows the best LLMs in specific categories.
Okay.
So from here, after you answer all these questions, or you just briefly go through them, you can click Generate Prompt. And what this is going to do is get all that context, all that information, all that data, and then generate that prompt with that framework we spoke about before.
Cool. So while this is loading then, so you take this prompt, and just to make sure I heard it right before, you take this prompt, and so for example, if we're building this type of chatbot, a web app, so then we would take this to something like a Lovable or Replit and go from there. Is that right?
That is the goal, yes. So
Okay.
this one, since it picked, after the prompt's made, you can push it to Claude, whatever LLM it's using, it's letting you do it. So you can literally just
So it could go to Claude.
it'll make you sign up.
Yeah.
Other than that, we can copy this prompt, and you can see that it's made the braid framework. It has the B, the R, the A, the I, and the D.
That's the acronym you were talking about earlier. Got it.
Exactly. And now what we do here is let's go to Lovable, and just to make sure, let's see, yeah, we're going to go ahead and make this happen. We're going to do a chatbot that does this. And if you wanted to, you can always attach any sort of logos. I'm going to put my branding in there. It's always a good rule of thumb to be able to include. But we're going to make a chatbot that does all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to push enter, and it's going to be made for us.
So it takes all this in. Yep.
Now what this does is, whenever it comes to using Lovable, if you sent this, I want to make a chatbot that does X, Y, and Z, and then it builds your first iteration, fixing it and going through the ways you want to make it look great, takes a lot of time and a lot of money. Like it would cost you probably $100 to get you to this place right here.
A lot of credit. Yeah. I noticed that the other day when I was using Lovable. They do have that plan feature where you can kind of go back and forth and chat with the interface before pushing any changes, but I can see where tokens and credits get used up really quickly in any kind of back and forth.
Yeah, and saving the trees, use PromptAnything. All the different kind of context windows, it starts confusing itself, it starts hallucinating. It doesn't have that specific prompt that it starts with. I mean, it's literally like giving an intern and training an intern what to do.
Yeah.
And if you can tell them exactly what to do, then it's going to be able to do what you want it to do, which is fun. But again, on here, I did want to mention that if you wanted to, you could always do generating an output as well. On the bottom here, you could say code script or web app, and you could do up to 7K characters. In the infinity mode, you get up to 50,000 characters, but that's the max Lovable can take, and that will build your web app that much more in depth and detailed. This will also get you some places as well.
Gotcha.
Now you can always just use the prompt here, or you could use the code script that this is going to make.
Got it.
Yeah. Well, that's that. After we just got to wait for these things to be made, and then we'll be good to go to show you the most. But
I see how it works. This is really cool.
Thank you. I'm gonna make another one just for fun. Then you go down the rabbit hole, and you're just making apps.
All right, so let's land the ship here as we look at our infinity selves there. But this all seems really helpful. Again, thinking like from my own experience, what I was building the other day, the back and forth that it required. I saw the preview. It's like, that's not exactly right. And then I went back and used more credits. That's not exactly right. So getting right from the start, I think, has a ton of value. So PromptAnything, Chip AI, Richmond Taylor, thank you for joining today. We'll be sure to post this on the YouTube channel as well as into LinkedIn. If folks do want to connect with you, is LinkedIn a good place to do that? Where can folks find you?
We'll add in different kind of links on the description below, but now I'm getting into YouTube, I'm getting into Instagram, TikTok, X, Substack, all the above, because content is king, and this is going to be great for just shooting out other prompting tools and helping everyone else out. But LinkedIn is a huge one. That is my number one. Richmond Taylor LinkedIn. You'll see me with the yellow picture right now, and just me smiling. You'll find me quick.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for taking us through today. Thank you for joining. Everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.